My name is Claire Mitchell. I am 30 years old, and I make a living predicting worst-case scenarios for a fintech company in Denver. But nothing in my job ever prepared me for the 10-second voicemail that blew up my family. It came in on a Tuesday afternoon, right between a risk report and a cold cup of coffee. I tapped play and heard my mom's voice, flat and businesslike, as if she were canceling a subscription, not her daughter. "You're out. Don't come back. We're moving on without you." No explanation, no emotion, just a verdict. For a second I just stared at my phone, feeling my heartbeat in my ears. Then the part of my brain that spends all day locking down other people's money quietly kicked in. I didn't call back. I didn't argue. I typed one simple text. Okay. Then I moved on first. I logged into the family LLC I had built from scratch, the one holding our rental properties and the new triplex we were about to close on, and I locked every permission that had my name on it. No more deals signed with my credit. No more transfers without my approval. Then I called the real estate agent and pulled myself out of the house deal they were counting on. House deal? Canceled. Finally, I froze the retirement account structure I had set up for them so nothing could be changed or drained behind my back. By the time my coffee was finished, so was every easy road they thought they had through me. I figured that would be the end of it. Instead, by the next morning, my phone showed 46 missed calls and a voicemail from their lawyer saying, "We have a serious problem." I actually laughed when I heard it and typed my reply, because they had no idea the problem wasn't me being gone, it was what I took with me. Stay with me until the end, and you'll see how one cold voicemail turned into a family revenge story where the person they tried to cut out ended up holding every last card. The next morning, I woke up to my phone buzzing itself toward the edge of the nightstand. For a second, I thought it was my alarm. Then I saw the screen. 46 missed calls. Mom, Dad, unknown numbers. One from a law office I recognized. The latest notification was a voicemail from their lawyer. I put in my earbuds and hit play while I started the coffee machine. "This is Evan Coleman, counsel for Mark and Diane Mitchell. Claire, we need to talk. This is serious? Please call me back as soon as possible." His voice was tight in that way lawyers get when they realize their clients left out important details. I let the message end and stared at the wall for a moment, listening to the coffee drip. My phone kept lighting up as new texts came in. From Mom. "Claire, this is just a misunderstanding. Call me, we need to talk." From Dad. "Kiddo, whatever happened, we can fix this. Please call us back." Another one from Mom. "We didn't mean it like that. We were upset. Come home so we can explain." Funny, I thought, because yesterday there had been no confusion in her voice at all. "You're out. Don't come back. We're moving on without you." That had sounded pretty clear to me. I scrolled, half expecting to see Brooke's name somewhere in the flood. Nothing. Not a single text or missed call from my little sister, who usually spammed our family group chat over the smallest thing. For someone who loved attention, she was very quiet now. While the coffee finished, I opened the building security app and pulled up the camera feed for our front entrance, almost on autopilot. The screen showed a clip from earlier that morning. My dad standing outside the glass door of my apartment building, hands shoved deep into his jacket pockets, looking up at the second floor where my unit was. He checked his phone, hesitated like he was about to ring the buzzer, then turned around and walked away. No call. No knock. Just retreat. My chest tightened for half a second. Then I pushed the feeling down. When people show you how easily they can cut you off, you do not rush to comfort them when they feel the knife swing back their way. On the way to work, my phone kept vibrating in my bag. I let it. At my desk, I finally shot off 3 short replies. To Mom, "I'm safe. I need time." To Dad. I heard the voicemail. "I'm not ready to talk." To the lawyer. I received your message. I will respond in writing. I did not owe anyone more than that. A little before lunch, my coworker Jenna rolled her chair over to my desk, lowering her voice. You have been staring at that screen like you are about to blow it up, she said. Everything okay at home? I almost said yes out of habit, but stopped myself. Not really. My parents decided I am out of the family business. Her eyebrows shot up. Do they realize you are the family business? I shrugged. They left a voicemail. I locked things down. Now their lawyer is involved. Jenna let out a slow whistle. Look, I am not telling you what to do, but you know how this goes. The second money is involved. Everybody starts performing. If you make moves out of guilt, they will spin that into you admitting fault. Make sure every decision you make is something you'd be fine explaining to a judge one day. I nodded. That part I understood better than anyone. Risk management was my job. I had spent years building systems so people could not quietly move money around behind each other's backs. And now I was realizing I had built the perfect system to keep my own family from doing the same thing to me. As I walked to the break room to refill my coffee, my phone buzzed again. A new text from an unknown number. Heard you pulled out of the triplex because you're overwhelmed. You okay? It was a cousin on my dad's side. Overwhelmed? That was definitely not my word. It sounded like something Brooke would say, while blinking back fake tears. The pieces started to line up in my head. The timing of her losing her marketing job, the way she'd started throwing around phrases like streamline the LLC and free up equity at Sunday dinners, as if she had ever cared about spreadsheets before. The fact that she was the only one quiet now, like a puppeteer who had already pulled the strings and was waiting off stage to see the outcome. I stared at my phone and felt the first clean edge of anger, sharp and cold, slide into place. If Brooke was behind this, if she thought she could shove me out of what I built and climb into my spot while our parents played along, then she had chosen the wrong sister to pick a financial fight with. 2 days later, I tried to pretend life was normal by doing something painfully ordinary. I went to the local coffee shop I always hit on Saturdays, the kind of place where the barista knows your order and the regulars talk about hiking and housing prices. I had just picked up my latte when I heard someone call my name. Claire. Hey. I turned and saw Tom Reynolds, one of my dad's old buddies from the garage he used to work at. He clapped me on the shoulder like nothing was wrong. Heard about the triplex? He said, lowering his voice like he was about to share a secret. Tough stuff. I frowned. What about it? He winced. Just what your mom and Brooke were saying in the family group chat. That you pulled out because work pressure got to you. That you were overwhelmed and it was not a good time for you mentally. He said mentally the way people do when they are afraid to say breakdown. I felt my jaw tighten. Overwhelmed. There it was again. I forced a smile so tight it felt like it might crack. Yeah, well, you know how rumors travel, I said. Tom patted my arm, told me to take care of myself, and wandered off to the sugar station. I walked out of the shop before my face showed what I was really feeling. Outside, in the cold Denver air, I pulled out my phone and scrolled back through my messages. Not one call from Brooke, not one text. But somehow she was comfortable telling extended family that I was too unstable to handle a house deal I had practically engineered. That was not just gossip. That was groundwork. Sitting in my car, I opened my contacts and tapped a name I had not used in months. Daniel Hayes, the financial advisor who had helped me set up the original structure for our family LLC before my parents, under Brooke's influence, switched to someone newer and flashier. Daniel picked up on the second ring. Claire. This is a surprise, he said, still keeping everyone out of trouble. Working on it, I said. I have a question. Has anyone tried to change ownership percentages in Mitchell Holdings LLC recently? There was a pause, the kind where you can hear someone sit up straighter. I've seen some draft documents float by, he said slowly. Your mom mentioned a new advisor, asked a few hypotheticals, but I saw references to adding another family member as a managing member, and your signature line was blank. It looked messy, so I told her nothing could move without you. My grip tightened on the steering wheel. Another family member. Brooke. Of course. Did any of it go through? I asked. No, he said. The paperwork was incomplete and, frankly, questionable. But Claire, if someone is trying to backdoor their way into control of your LLC, you need to get ahead of it. I thanked him, hung up, and stared at the dashboard for a long moment. I thought about the voicemail telling me I was out. I thought about Tom parroting the word overwhelmed. I thought about my mom suddenly wanting a new advisor right after Brooke lost her job. This was not random. This was a plan with a shaky legal backbone and a lot of emotional manipulation on top. A new notification popped up while I sat there. From Brooke. Finally. What do you think you're doing, Claire? Pulling out of the house deal? Freaking everyone out? Locking down accounts? This is a mess and you are making it worse. For a second my fingers hovered over the keyboard. I almost unleashed everything boiling in my head. Instead, I deleted the reply draft and opened my email. First, I wrote to the real estate agent. Per our conversation, please consider this written confirmation that I have withdrawn from the Mitchell triplex purchase as a borrower and primary qualifier. Any further representation that I am participating in this transaction is inaccurate and unauthorized. Then I asked for a formal cancellation notice to be sent to my parents, copying their lawyer. Next, I opened a new message, this time addressed to Brooke, but written like any other risk escalation I would send at work. Brooke, this email serves as formal notice that any attempt to alter ownership, signature authority, or financial structure related to Mitchell Holdings LLC, its associated properties, or retirement accounts without my written consent is unauthorized and may constitute fraud. Do not sign my name. Do not imply my approval. Any such action will be documented and shared with legal counsel. Claire. No yelling, no name-calling, just facts and consequences. I sent it, then turned my phone face down on the passenger seat. By the time I drove home, my call log showed 6 more attempts from Mom, 3 from Dad, none from Brooke. At my apartment, I opened my laptop and started a new folder labeled Family Risk File. I dragged in screenshots of texts, the lawyer's voicemail, Daniel's notes, the email I just sent. Every move, every lie, every attempt to paint me as unstable was going in there. Because if Brooke was building a story where I was the problem, where I was the weak link to be cut out so she could slide in, then I was going to build a better story, one backed by timestamps and evidence. And I could not help wondering as I watched the files pile up on my screen, how many families blow up like this because one person values the truth less than the role of victim they have been rehearsing their whole life. 3 days later, an unknown number flashed on my screen in the middle of a spreadsheet. I almost let it go to voicemail until I saw the firm name. This is Claire. Hi Claire, this is Jason Liu, your parents' new financial advisor, he said. I just need to go over some discrepancies in the Mitchell retirement structure. That word made me sit up. He explained he'd been reviewing the LLC and retirement accounts and had seen draft forms adding Brooke as a co-trustee or managing member, with my name referenced as approving changes but no actual signature from me. To be clear, Jason, I have not approved anything, I said. I haven't signed a thing since the day Daniel and I set it up. Jason sighed. I figured. Your family is under the impression you stepped away, and that these changes are what you want. The word overwhelmed came up. From a compliance standpoint, I needed your confirmation. Treat every request as unauthorized unless you see my live signature, I told him. If someone claims otherwise, ask for written proof. You won't get any. After we hung up, my cousin Megan called. "Are you okay?" she blurted. "Because the way Brooke has been talking, it sounds like you are falling apart." I asked what exactly Brooke was saying. That you pulled out of the triplex because of anxiety? That you hoard control of the LLC? That you threatened to cut mom and dad off financially? Megan said. Now she's posting about abusive power in families. None of that is true, I said. Megan lowered her voice. I didn't think so. It doesn't match the Claire who paid for their roof. I just wanted you to know what was being said. Thanks. Screenshot if you feel like it. Otherwise, don't feed her audience. We hung up. A second later, an email thread popped into my inbox. Subject: Mitchell Triplex Purchase Update. It was from our agent Susan, with my parents, Brooke and Evan, the lawyer, on copy. Quoted under her reply was Brooke's message. Susan, as we discussed, Claire has pulled out due to personal mental health struggles. We need to move forward without her. Please respect her limitations, Brooke had written, sounding so caring it made my skin crawl. Susan's actual reply was crisp. Thank you, Brooke. For liability, I'll need written confirmation directly from Claire and will pause the file for now. I started typing before the anger softened. Hi, Susan, I wrote. Attached is my written withdrawal from 2 days ago and the pre-approval docs. I am not exiting due to mental health struggles. I am withdrawing because I no longer consent to my name, credit, or income being used under the current family circumstances. Any other description of my decision is inaccurate. Thanks for pausing the file. Claire. I copied Evan and Jason, attached everything proving I'd been the driver from day one. Susan replied quickly to the smaller group. Understood. I will ignore Brooke's prior message and only act on instructions that come from you. A quiet email followed from Evan. Received. We should talk about next steps. That night, there was an envelope taped to my apartment door with my mom's handwriting. Inside, on lined paper, she'd written, "We love you. We were emotional. Please call us so we can fix this before it goes too far. Love, Mom." For a second, my chest hurt. I could picture her at the kitchen table while Brooke paced and cried, arranging the story. My phone buzzed again. Megan had sent a screenshot of Brooke's newest post. Sometimes the most dangerous person in a family is the one who controls all the money and punishes you when you don't obey. It said, healing means walking away from people who weaponize their power, even if they share your last name. The comments were full of hearts and "you go, girl." I put the note from my mom next to my laptop and opened the folder labeled Family Risk File. Emails, voicemails, advisor notes, screenshots, all lined up in neat little rows. Up until now, I'd just been shutting doors. As I watched the files stack up, I realized defense wasn't enough. If Brooke wanted to build a narrative where I was the villain, I was going to answer with something she couldn't spin, a simple, documented story that left her standing alone in the light. The next morning, while I was at my desk, my phone buzzed with a new text from my mom. Just 5 minutes. No arguing. Please. I stared at it. 5 minutes wasn't going to fix a voicemail that told me not to come back, but it sounded more like her than anything she'd sent in weeks. Call me, I wrote. She answered immediately, and I heard the faint speaker echo. Your dad is here too, she said. Hey, kiddo, Mark added. You wanted 5 minutes, I said. Mom exhaled. We messed up, Claire. Saying you're out, don't come back, that was extreme. We shouldn't have said it like that. You didn't, I said. You said exactly that. She went quiet, then tried again. Your sister told us things, she said, that you were planning to cut us out of the LLC, talking to lawyers about removing us from retirement accounts, saying you were tired of carrying us and wanted full control. She said you told her after dinner in the car. None of that ever happened, I said. Did you hear those words from me, directly? Well, no, Mom admitted. Brooke said you talked in the car on the way home. I took my own car that night, I said. I left alone. There was no car ride. Dad swore softly. Why would she make that up? Mom whispered. But it sounded like she already knew the answer. Maybe because she wanted what I have, I said. If I'm unstable and power-hungry, sliding herself into documents looks like protecting you, not using you. Dad sighed. This is past family drama now. Evan called. Jason called you. Susan paused the house. I know, I said. That's why I'm done with whispers. We're going to sit down, all four of us, in the same room. No speakerphone, no vague posts. I'll bring documents. You bring everything Brooke told you. Then we see what survives. Do we have to involve lawyers? Mom asked. They're already involved, I said. The question is whether they see Brooke's story first or the evidence. When? Dad asked. Tomorrow, 6, at the house, I said. If Brooke won't come, that's an answer too. The next evening, I walked into my parents' living room with a thick folder under my arm. Same beige couch, same framed school photos, completely different air. My parents sat together on the sofa. Brooke perched in an armchair with a tissue like a prop. She wouldn't look at me. Thanks for coming, Dad said. I set the folder and my phone on the coffee table. Just so we're clear, I said. Nothing about this is off the record in my head. If anyone lies, I won't keep it here. Brooke scoffed. Wow, way to make this hostile. We're family. Then the truth shouldn't scare anyone, I said. Mom twisted her hands. Brooke, honey, tell Claire what you told us. No, I said. Brooke can speak for herself. Go ahead. Brooke rolled her eyes. I just repeated what you said. She snapped. That you were done carrying everything. That you were thinking of pulling your name off things. That you wanted full control of the LLC so you didn't have to consult them. And this was in the car after dinner, right? I asked. She nodded. Yeah, you were upset. You probably don't even remember. I opened the folder, pulled out a printed statement, and slid it over. That night at Harbor Grill, right? Check the timestamps. Mom's eyes moved down the page. Brooke's rideshare receipt to their house at 10:15. My gas station charge across town at 10:13. Different routes. Different cars. I drove myself, I said. You took a car alone. There was no car conversation. Maybe it was another night, Brooke said quickly. Before you say that, here's the only other time we all had dinner in the last 3 months, I said, flipping to another printout. That night you left early to meet friends. I stayed to pay. No private ride then either. Dad leaned back slowly. Brooke, he said quietly. She shrugged. Memory is weird, okay? I was trying to help. I thought she was serious about needing a break. I laid down the email to Susan next, my withdrawal sent before Brooke's mental health story, then Susan's reply saying she'd ignore anything that didn't come from me. Then Jason's note about draft documents with my name referenced but not signed. Then screenshots of Brooke's posts and Megan's messages. One by one, the pages built a line from my voicemail to this couch. Mom finally turned to Brooke. You told us you saw emails, she whispered. You told us Claire said she was done with us. Brooke sat up straighter. So now you just believe her because she printed things, she said. She's always liked control. She's twisting everything to make me look crazy. Dad fixed his eyes on her. The truth doesn't fall apart when you hold it next to a receipt, he said. Yours did. Mom looked at me, and for the first time since that voicemail, I saw something shift. We always thought you could handle more, she said. We saw Brooke as fragile, so we protected her and pushed responsibility onto you. And now I am sitting here realizing the only person who has lied to us is the one we told not to come back. Brooke opened her mouth, but Mom lifted a hand. Not this time, she said softly. The word no landed between them, and I felt something inside me finally quietly, slide back into place. They had tried to cut me out based on a script Brooke wrote. Now they were watching that script burn, page by page, and realizing they were seconds away from losing the one person who had actually kept them afloat. The silence after my mom's no sat there like a fifth person in the room. Brooke shifted in her chair, eyes darting between our parents and me, testing which way the wind was blowing. "So what now?" she snapped finally. "You've got your little packet of papers. Congratulations, Claire. Are you happy you made Mom cry?" I ignored the jab. "This is not about anyone crying," I said. "It's about consequences. You told me I was out. You tried to push changes through behind my back. You told people I was unstable so you could step into things I built. That has to mean something other than a sad Facebook post and everyone pretending it never happened." My dad rubbed his jaw, the way he did when he was lining up a difficult repair in his head. "What do you think should happen?" he asked. Brooke whipped her head toward him. "Seriously, Dad. You're asking her?" I met his eyes. "You wanted me out of the family business," I said. "Fine. I'll step back from being the default safety net. But that also means no one gets to quietly use my name, my credit, or my work. Starting with making sure Brooke has zero access to anything I've set up." My mom hesitated. "Brooke doesn't have access?" she started, but I shook my head. "Not formally, maybe," I said. "But she's been in meetings. She's been in group chats about the triplex. She's been talking to advisors like decisions were already moving in her favor. That stops. Today." Dad sighed, looked at Brooke. "Honey," he said, "we need to be clear here. No more talking to advisors for us. No more speaking on our behalf. No more hinting that Claire is okay with things when she is not." Brooke blinked hard. "So you're just going to cut me out?" she said, voice going high and thin. "After everything I have done for you." "What exactly is that?" I asked, unable to stop myself. "The Instagram story about being raised by wolves in the suburbs? Or the half-baked business plans you wanted me to fund?" Mom flinched but didn't scold me this time. "Mark," she said quietly, "maybe we should make it official. No additional beneficiaries. No shared accounts. No promises we can't keep. We've been saying for years we'd help Brooke start something. Pay off this card. Co-sign that loan. All it has done is make her think she is entitled to money that isn't there until Claire builds it." I looked at her, surprised at how blunt she was being. Diane turned to me. "We want you to rewrite the documents," she said. "The LLC, the retirement stuff, all of it. Based on what you think actually makes sense, not what we say in the middle of a fight." I stared at her. "You're asking me to take control again after you just told me to get out?" I said slowly. She nodded, eyes wet. "I'm asking you to do what you have been doing this whole time," she said. "Only this time with us admitting you know more than we do." Brooke let out a harsh laugh. "Unbelievable. You are handing her everything. You're punishing me because I told the truth about how she treats us." Dad looked at her steadily. "The truth would have held up against a gas receipt," he said. "Yours didn't. That is the difference." For the first time since Id walked in, Brooke looked genuinely shaken. Her eyes flicked to me, searching for some old version of me who might offer a lifeline. I didn't. Mark took a breath. "Here's what we're going to do," he said, falling into the firm tone he used to use at the shop. "Claire, you and Evan and Jason figure out whatever it takes to make the LLC and the retirement accounts bulletproof. You and I remain the only managing members. Your mom is a beneficiary. Brooke is not in any position of control anywhere. If we help her, it will be from our own pockets, not by opening back doors into what you built." Brooke sat forward. "You can't just erase me like that," she said. "I'm your daughter too." My mom winced. "We are not erasing you," she said. We're stopping pretending money we don't have is going to fall from the sky because we put your name on something Claire made. If we ever help you, it will be because you have a real plan, and we can actually afford it, not because we feel guilty." Brooke switched tactics so fast it made my head spin. "Fine," she said, tears welling up. "Then let me prove it. Claire, give me a small role in the LLC. Let me do social media or something. Let me show you I can contribute instead of just taking." It was almost impressive, the way she slid from outrage to pleading to the angle that made her look the most reasonable. A year ago, I might have fallen for it. Now, I just saw another version of the same pattern. I stood up, picked up my folder. "No," I said simply. "If you want to prove you can build something, you don't do it by wiring yourself into what someone else has already built. You do it by starting with nothing, like I did." My mom looked between us. "Claire, isn't that a little harsh?" she asked softly. I shook my head. "Harsh was being told I was out and should not come back," I said. "Harsh was having my stability used as a prop to get sympathy online. This is just boundaries, Mom. There's a difference." Brooke glared at me. "You are going to regret this," she hissed. "You think you can cut me off and walk away clean." I picked up my phone and slid it into my bag. "No," I said. "I think I can protect what I have earned and stop you from turning my work into your safety net. Whatever happens to you after that is not on me." On my way out, my dad walked me to the door. "I am sorry," he said quietly. "For the voicemail, for not asking you first, for letting it get this far." I believed what was easiest to hear. I nodded, feeling a complicated mix of relief and sadness wash over me. "I know," I said. "But believing the easy story does not mean the consequences are easy too." Over the next week, the shifts became real. Jason sent over revised drafts, with only my and Mark's names in control positions. Evan scheduled a meeting where my parents signed documents limiting who could ever touch their accounts. I updated the LLC operating agreement to explicitly state that no new managing member could be added without unanimous written consent from existing ones. There was no line where Brooke's name could even be penciled in later. When the last signature dried, I felt something settle into place. Not revenge as a dramatic moment, but revenge as a structure. A system in which the person who tried to push me out no longer had any way in. A few days after that, Brooke showed up at my office unannounced, eyes big and red, asking the receptionist for me. She was holding a binder, the kind you bring to pitch a project. I met her in the lobby, arms crossed. "I have a business plan," she said, thrusting the binder toward me. "Events, brand partnerships, influencer collaborations. If you just invest a little, I can pay you back and prove everyone wrong." I didn't take the binder. "Start it without me," I said. "If it works, you won't need my money. If it doesn't, you'll know why I said no." Her face crumpled, anger and panic fighting for space. "You are really not going to help me," she whispered. "Not after everything." I thought of Daniel's warning, Jason's caution, Megan's screenshots, my mom's note, my dad's quiet apology, that voicemail that started all of this. "I'm done helping people set themselves on fire with my gasoline," I said. Then I turned and walked back through the secured door to my floor, leaving her and her binder and all of her almosts on the other side. A month later, I stood in the driveway of a pale brick triplex on the edge of Denver, holding a box of kitchen stuff and watching my parents argue about where to put a bird feeder. The bottom unit was theirs now, officially, in writing, with a clause that said they could live there for the rest of their lives, without anyone being able to touch it. My unit was on the second floor, light spilling through big windows. The third unit was already listed for rent, the numbers penciled out in a spreadsheet only I controlled. Mitchell Holdings, LLC, the thing Brooke had tried to slide into, was leaner and cleaner. Just me and my dad as managing members, my mom as beneficiary, and more safeguards than any family drama could shake loose. No side doors, no room for creative interpretations. On weekend evenings, I'd come down and cook with my mom in her new kitchen, while my dad watched some car show in the living room. We did not rehash every detail, but we stopped pretending money was some mysterious fog nobody understood. I would pull up the accounts on my laptop and walk them through what was real instead of what they wished was real. It was not perfect. There were still sad moments, still guilt in their eyes when Brooke's name